Welcome to the party. I'm not here right now, but I want you to listen very carefully. These guys are very funny, so pay attention. Enough talk. It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name's Steve and my co-host is Pete.
Hello.
This episode we're doing a slightly different study of a film because we both went to the cinema independently and saw a modern film, 2015.
Exactly, a modern film that neither of us has seen before, so it's a bit of a gamble.
And it had neither Jean-Claude Van Damme or Arnie in it.
I know, what's going on? Having said that, we've never actually done a Van Damme film. Actually, no, it's not true. Universal Soldier. Apart from Universal Soldier, we've not done any Van Damme films, so...
Yeah, we haven't done a trilogy to him.
Overdue some more Van Damme at some point. But he
Especially haven't seen his dancing recently on Conan O'Brien.
Indeed. No, he wasn't literally dancing on Conan O'Brien, but yes.
Yes, anyway, so this episode we're talking about John Wick starring Keanu Reeves himself. Indeed. Old Keanu, who's actually, he's older than I thought.
How old is he?
Which is the first thing.
How old is
I think he just turned 50.
Well, the trouble is, as you get older, people you look up to, the gap obviously doesn't get any smaller. But like when you're a teenager and someone's in their 20s, it seems like a massive gap when you're in 20s. But when you're, as I am, in your 40s and someone's 50, you just think, oh, we could be, it's not that big a gap. It's a bit depressing, really.
But then when we were watching Bill and Ted, he wasn't.
That's true.
50.
That's true.
He was,
that's true. Or Parenthood.
Not that old. Oh, God, I remember that film.
Yeah.
Very weird film, but very good. Steve Martin, everybody.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway. Let's get to it. So, we haven't got as many notes as we normally have because we haven't been able to pause this film and watch it.
I did try and take some notes, but it's quite hard in the dark.
With your phone. Turn your phone off. Turn your phone off. I've also had to kind of rely on the wiki page and the IMDb to help me with...
The wiki page, I see you've done there. John Wikipedia.
I hadn't, but well done, thanks.
Thank you.
This is directed by a guy I've never heard of before.
And written by someone you've probably never heard of before as well. So on paper, if you take away the A-listers, on paper, this shouldn't work at all. So it's directed by, I can try this name, Chad Stahelski.
Yes. Who
is Keanu's stunt double.
Really?
Yeah, he was his Matrix stunt double, and they've been friends ever since. So I think he went... He's been a second unit director. Like quite a lot of stunt men become stunt coordinators, and then they become second unit directors to do the action scenes in films. Then eventually quite a lot will become directors in their own right. So I think this is his first film. But I'd imagine he went, Keanu, I'd really like to make a film. Could you be in it? That would really help me.
I think that's a kind of what I read around this. I haven't watched the film. That's sort of what he did. He came to Keanu and said, look, I've got this script. Read it. See what you think. And he read it and said, yeah, I like it. Let's make it. It was that kind of simple. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't make any films. He doesn't need to.
No, he doesn't. I like that about him. I like the fact he cherry picks.
Yeah.
And it's written by someone called Derek Kolstad, whose only two other films both star the same actor. Do you know who that is?
No.
Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, wow, that's kind of shocking.
So I don't necessarily think that they went to the cinema, those films.
What are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I love Mr. Lundgren.
Mr. Lundgren now.
The other films are The Package, starring Dolph Lundgren and Steve Austin.
Oh, okay.
And One in the Chamber, starring Dolph Lundgren and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oof. Okay.
And, of course, his next film coming up will be John Wick 2.
Oh, you've jumped the gun there.
Literally.
Although John Wick does that lot. Anyway. God.
Sorry.
It's going to be terrible.
Sorry, as always, we're going to spoil the film, so if you don't think that John Wick survives and is going to be in a sequel, I've just spoiled that for you.
Maybe he's not. Maybe it's not.
Son. Maybe it's Joan Wick, his sister.
Just a typo.
It's gone for weeks.
John Wick and then Joan Wick. What?
John Wick. You carry on. So I like Keanu as an action actor. So we've done Point Break before, and obviously The Matrix,
which we haven't done.
We've not done. No. Speed, which we've not done.
Oh, I love Speed.
See, I'm not a fan of Speed.
Oh,
I know.
What's wrong with you?
I know.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it was just because it was hot. Everyone was like, this is the best action film, this is an amazing action film. And just something about it left me cold, and I don't know what.
It's got a bus going really fast. It's got a clever, twisted killer with weird hands.
I like Sandra Bullock. I don't like public transport.
So this is it. It's actually about you hate roads and freeways.
The scariest thing is I saw Speed on video, and I saw Speed 2 Cruise Control in the cinema.
Oh dear. That's one on the boat, isn't it?
Jason Patric.
I've not seen that one.
It's similar premise.
Mm.
And then you do think Sandra Bullock's character, what an unlucky lady. It's an unfortunate scenario to be in twice.
It's like John McClane.
It is like John
caught two Christmases in a row. How unlucky can a guy be?
No, and with no input from Shane Black.
No.
Exactly.
Wow. How unlucky.
So,
anyway.
And 47 Ronin was probably his last action role, but I haven't seen that.
I've not seen that either. No. It kind of came and went at the cinema.
Yeah, it didn't get particularly good reviews. Whereas this did. That's one of the reasons I think that we both decided that we'd take a chance on watching something cold, as it were, because it was a bit of a sleeper hit, I think, in the States, and then it took a long time to come out over here. Like, I think it was in October last year, it was out in America, and then didn't come out until last month here, so that's like the old days. That's like we were kids, you have to wait like a year and a half for a film to come out.
I guess it's one of these things where, unless it's a really big film now, they don't do the quick release around the world. They sort of see if it works, and if it does well in a territory, and then other territories might buy it afterwards. Otherwise, they won't bother.
Yeah.
Because if you had the Dolph Lundgren film, that's the two films that these guys have done before, and they go, well, I'm not going to buy that unless it does really well, and then suddenly this one takes off.
For people like us, here Keanu Reeves is the lead actor, you go, great, I'm in. But maybe for the average person, it's like, well, he's not exactly a box office guarantee, I suppose.
No, and it could be for overseas territories buying it. We're thinking, action film with him, could be all right,
But this may well position him as the new Liam Neeson.
Yes, another Jerry action, although he's not old enough to be.
No, he's more midi action.
Given that we're closer to his age.
That's true, exactly.
So, yes, he's a happy, healthy chap.
He doesn't look that different, really.
He doesn't. That's what's scary. I would still think, apart from him saying dude a lot, he could be in the next Bill and Ted.
There's bound. I think there's been talk of a third. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a third one. I think it'll depend if Alex Winter wants to do it or not.
A bit weird, though, I think. Them trying to be kind of same kind of characters now. It's like when they did Dumb and Dumberer 2. I didn't watch it. I just thought it's funny 20 years ago. Doing it 25 years where it is on, it's not funny anymore. So there you go. Right. Anyway, we're talking about the film here.
Haven't we?
So
that was the trailer. So we've got our popcorn. We've settled down. Well,
yeah. So don't forget it's time to get a Coke. You always have that fucking advert at the end.
It's not the Cure advert anymore.
Did you have that in the cinema?
I used to have it in the cinema when I was a kid, yeah. That was like the only advert, yeah. It used to just be trailers and then the Cure ad and then it would start.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'll be your dog. Speaking of being your dog, this film has a dog. So the start of the film is almost silent.
Yes, a lot of quick cuts.
Yeah,
quick cuts.
The first 10 minutes, I don't think anyone speaks.
Very little, yes. So do you want to give the setup then?
Yeah, see, it starts off with Keanu bleeding in a nice suit. Shame about that, really. It's probably might have ruined it. And then you start to get flashbacks, but you're not quite sure. Well, you are quite sure if you've heard about the film before, but if you haven't heard anything about it at all, it's like there's flashbacks to his wife and to her dying, and then does it go straight to the funeral then?
I think so, yes.
So then you go, oh, this is really good. It's an A-list actor in, like, essentially, in many ways, a B movie, but with an A-list actor. Hang on a moment, there's another A-list actor. It's William Dafoe.
Yes, I was not I hadn't read around this film, so I didn't know that he was in it. So I was like, wow, that's a surprise. It was really good to see him again, actually.
He's really good in this. And it's one of my favourite film tropes as well, is a funeral. In film funerals and in comics, it's always raining and everyone's got their umbrellas up.
Yeah. From Batman Begins to this to how many other countless films I can't even imagine.
And so William Dafoe's acting a little bit. You can tell they know each other, but it's a little bit of a strange exchange. You know, William Dafoe's a little bit he's acting a little bit suspiciously. You start to think what's going on, but you don't get to know very much at all.
No, you kind of think, are they friends? Are they not friends? And he says, what are you doing here? Something like that. And he says, I'm just here to, here to see an old friend and to say goodbye to his wife. And you think, well, all right, but something else is clearly going on. Something. Yeah. But so then he goes back to living his quiet little life in his house all by himself.
Oh, well, for one beat he's all by himself, and then a puppy is delivered.
Yes, and he got a letter from his wife so before she died, she set this in motion, saying...
So she'd been ill.
Yeah, she got... Well, we saw her in the flashback. She kind of fell when they were out for a walk, and it got diagnosed as some kind... We don't know what it was, possibly cancer or something. And so before she died, she set this going where she ordered him a puppy, saying that you can't shut yourself off, you can't just live in isolation, so gives him a little puppy.
Called Daisy, I believe.
Yes, a little beagle called Daisy.
And I think this is, and I'm not going to criticise the film too much at all because I really liked it. But if you look at kind of the formula of films and the save the cat thing, which is if you have a protagonist, show them saving a cat early so we care about them before anything happens. Well, this dog is the cat, I guess. He's not saving it, but it's kind of saving him. So I think it gives him some humanity, especially as later on he's pretty badass, that it kind of makes you go, okay, this is a guy that he's lost his wife, he's very human, he's very real, and he has a dog.
Yes, and so his little empty kind of life, it was kind of sad, really. Yeah. It's this big house and very clinical, and then suddenly you've got this little puppy running around and he's looking after it, and he's taking it for walks, and he's letting it out the toilet, and it's just kind of cute. Yeah. It's just kind of like, I don't know, like Charlie Brown and Snoopy almost, just the two of them living together, and it's not quite as empty.
You could have made a very different film that was just about that.
Yeah.
Just this guy kind of rebuilding.
And the film ends, and just credits roll.
Like an art house.
And he's happy. But wait.
No, things are going to change quite quickly. So he goes to get gas. I'm going to go all American. He goes to get gas. And he sees one of the guys from Daredevil.
What? I haven't seen it, so I can't tell.
Just as me struggling to remember any character names. There's Russians, basically. There's a guy from There's a guy from Daredevil. Alfie Allen from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Who plays... I can never remember any character names in Game of Thrones. Although I watch it every week, I have no idea what anyone's called.
In Game of Thrones, he plays... his character is now called Reek.
Okay, I could remember that.
But he was called Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah, that's right. And he, of course, is Lily Allen's brother in real life and Keith Allen's son.
Is he?
Yes. One of the Allen, the Allen dynasty. It's not exactly a dynasty. But, well, there's four of them that are famous, so yeah, that's a dynasty.
Okay.
So they've matched the Baldwins or the Wayans.
Anyway.
Kind of. So he wants to buy... Does he want to buy his car? He asks him how much he...
Yes.
Yeah, so...
He's got a really nice car, and he says, I'll buy it off you. And he just says, well, it's not for sale.
And then... Yeah, and I thought he was American, then he was Russian. And then John Wick drives off in his Mustang, and he goes to a skid pan. Or an airstrip, or something.
Yes, airstrip.
And he looks like an angry Eddie Vedder at this point, because he's got a beard. Mm-hmm. And then he's kind of throwing his car around the track, a bit like he's on Top Gear, but without punching any producers. And then...
or calling them something sexist, racist, homophobic, something like that, like the cock on the TV show, which is real.
That is true. And then it's a bit of a kind of Lethal Weapon-y kind of moment, where it looks like he's going to drive straight at some things, and then he slams the brakes on, and you do think, is he suicidal a bit because of losing his wife? Is he on? He's definitely on the edge.
Definitely, yeah. But I think the dog kind of helps a bit.
Exactly. So I think it's that same night, because the timescale of this film is quite short, isn't it? I think
it is
that night, the dog wakes him to go to the toilet, which I was quite impressed. For a puppy, I thought I was quite impressed at that.
Litter trained is great.
Exactly.
Dog's brilliant. Dog's a genius.
But then he gets hit over the head.
There's someone in his house. Yes. There's 3 masked men in his house, and they punch him and kick him.
With Russian accents. What a coincidence.
So they've all got masks on, which is fine at this point, except they start talking Russian And he knows Russian because he proved that to them.
That's right, yeah, that's right. At the petrol station, he replied, which I think was the bit that kind of set them off a bit.
Well, the guy was a dick anyway.
Yeah, he was a dick, definitely. But I think, the fact that I think I like that as well, because there's little hints of stuff, because you kind of, if you know the premise of the film, it's like, well, I don't think this guy is a guy who maybe works in a bank or is a greengrocer. There's obviously more. There's more to this character that he's just kind of, hasn't gone and learned on a shooting range with some of his friends.
Ooh, no.
But you kind of, the fact it's like, William Dafoe at the funeral, something going on there. Hang on, he speaks Russian, something going on there. And it's just quite an interesting little way they build the little building blocks of kind of... and at this point, it's starting to remind me of Payback.
Yes, yes. And Equalizer. I have now seen the new Equalizer.
Oh, I haven't seen... Oh, okay. Is that worth talking about at some point? Because I'd like to see it.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
If you take it as a completely standalone film, has nothing to do with the TV series, other than the main character has the same name, yes.
Okay, all right.
It's worth talking about. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. I got it off Amazon Prime or whatever it was through my TV.
Okay.
Watched it one night. It was all right, yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, let's bear that in mind. So they hit him over the head. They smash up his house, looking for his
they
car.
steal his keys as well.
They're looking for his car, I think. They're going to take his car. And then, totally unnecessarily, they kill his dog.
Which is barking a lot, so one of them silences it.
With a baseball bat. Not very nice. Not very nice. And of course, like in Payback, of course, the dog is injured, and in the director's cut it dies, but in the Mel Gibson edit that was released, it survives.
But you see, the stupid thing is at this point, doesn't the guy take off his mask?
Yes, he does. He takes off his mask.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Yosef, is that his character's name? So he probably kind of knew who it was anyway, but he didn't really have proof. Not that he's the kind of guy that would need go to the police and get proof. But then the guy takes off his mask and, blatantly's like, ha ha ha, and then he kicks him and they drive off in his stolen car.
I think kind of it just shows he's this immature guy.
Yes.
Definitely. So Keanu's been knocked out, or John Wick, shall I say, and then and he comes to, and the first thing he sees is...
his dead dog,
which he buries.
And then, doesn't it then go to the scene in the garage?
Yeah, it does. Right? Yeah, I think so.
So, there's a great... So I really like this scene.
Me too.
So, the three dicks drive up in his stolen car... Oh, cool, that's what they are. Three Russian dicks drive up in this
John
stolen
Wick
car...
John Wick and the three Russian dicks.
They drive up to essentially a chop shop or some kind of place where they sell or work on stolen cars.
What's his name?
John Leguizamo.
That's it.
I love it. Yeah. So they come up and they pull up in the car and they're saying, hey, and the guy, Yosef's just treating him like one of his servants and just saying, no, you work for us and, I'm the boss and blah, blah, blah. And he looks at the car and says, where did you get it from? He's going, I just, I took it. I want you can buy it to give me this much for it. And John Leguizamo character just kind of goes, no, I don't think so. And so he's getting really cheeky with him, saying, you work for me, blah, blah, blah. And John just slaps him in the face, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Punch him or slap him, I can't remember.
I think he punches him in the face.
Oh, brilliant. Just knocks him down. And it's brilliant. It's just that kind of, you're a stupid punk.
Yeah.
And he just punches him in the face and puts him in his place. But they all get,
I really like as well is that there's a great cast, as we go through the film, there's a great cast in this film. But it's someone like that, another really good actor, that isn't in many scenes, but he's just, it's all kind of credible people. That gives it a bit more, this could have easily been a Seagal film with the same plot. You could take exactly the same script and made a Seagal film, but because they put so many kind of top-notch actors in it. But I love the next bit as well, because you get the feeling this is going to start getting a much bigger scenario, because there's Viggo, I think it is, who's the father of the... So the young Russian punk played by Alfie Allen is actually the son of the head of the Russian mob. So much bigger thing. So he rings the chop shop guy and it's like, why did you punch my son? It's like,
is this true? Did you punch my son?
Yeah, he said, well, he's killed John Wick's dog and stolen his car. Okay, I understand. And then he just beats up his own son.
No, because that's brilliant, because he just says that too. He goes, is that true? And he goes, yes. And he tells him why, and he goes, oh. That's all he says. He just says, oh, and he hangs up.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything else. It's just kind of like, oh shit, what have you
It's just
done?
a really nice thing that it is this guy that no one would cross, even the head of the thing. And there's
but it's just that weight of he didn't kind of spiel or threaten John Leguizamo's character. He just kind of has that moment where he just kind of goes, oh.
Okay. And so he's hitting the son, and the son is like, well, why, Dad, what's the matter? What's going on? And he's like, you don't know who this was. It was a guy called John Wick. And he says, well, who's John Wick? Which I'll come on to later because it doesn't make sense. He doesn't know who he is, but that's beside the point. He goes, oh, he was an associate of mine. You go, okay, that would explain the Russian. He's an associate of this guy. I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil. A fucking pencil. I'm assuming it was a mechanical pencil or maybe like an H, a heart.
Well, it's in Grosse Point Blank.
Yes, of course.
Kills him with a pen.
That's true.
Why not with a pencil?
That's true.
You know, what about Dark Knight Rises? Joker kills someone with a pencil.
Valid point. You seem to have a good knowledge of stationery.
A pencil. I have a pencil stationery-related deaths. I've done my homework.
Pencil case of action.
Anyway, but it just says, well, who is he? And then you get this great story. As at this point, he tells him the ghost story.
Yeah.
He basically says that everything we built, the person who helped us build this was John Wick, and he killed lots and lots of people for us. Whenever we had someone that was really, really bad, that we couldn't move and couldn't do anything with and couldn't take care of, we sent John Wick in, and he took care of them. He's the boogeyman, he kind of says. He's worse than anybody else.
It's interesting as well, because at this point, and I think personally that Viggo changed his mind later. Vito, sorry. Is it Vito or Viggo?
No, Viggo.
Like Viggo Mortensen. He basically is pretty much, just go, because you're dead.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop this, because I can't. So, unlucky. But, so then as soon as his son's gone, he rings John Wick, and I love this moment as well, because he rings him, and you expect there'd be some long kind of back and forth. In other films, they both shoot up the scenery. But he just kind of says, almost, is there anything we can do to put this right? And John Wick doesn't say a word. He just literally holds the phone in silence, and then puts the phone down.
I think he kind of knows at that point that it doesn't matter what he says, it's not going to fix it, and his son is toast. Yeah. And so he says to his kind of consigliere, send someone. And he goes, well, who? He goes, everyone. And so he sends 12.
He does send 12 men.
12 men.
Which,
to John Wick's house that night to take care of him.
And again, it's nice touches. I think Viggo's singing this bogeyman song or poem, which is kind of about John Wick, or is maybe mythological but been applied to John Wick. And there's a very cool kind of slicker version of Commando. In Commando where he's kind of getting ready. Mm-hmm. You get this long scene that just cut to music of Keanu kind of having a shower, I think, showing off his tattoos.
Yep.
And then putting on a very cool black suit and tie. And this is him getting back into business mode. He was this man who left the company, set up a life with a wife, but, they've pulled him back in, and now he means business, and he becomes essentially a completely different person.
Yes, and he takes out a sledgehammer and breaks up in the basement and gets out his the old tools of his trade.
Do you recognise the cop who comes to his door?
No.
Do you watch Newsroom?
I did.
Okay. It's the guy from Newsroom. I can't remember his character's name. The one that goes out with the very attractive lady.
I don't know. Yeah.
Don.
Oh, yeah.
It's him.
Oh, okay, I didn't realise that.
And I thought he must be in it quite a lot, but he's not. But what I love about this moment as well is like a cop comes to the door and you think, oh dear.
Oh, you've jumped a bit.
I have jumped. I'm sorry. Apologies. I have jumped a bit. Sorry.
A big bit.
A big bit.
So John gets his. So he gets the guns out of his case, but he's also got this stack of what look like gold coins.
Yes.
There's two weird stacks of them, and he takes those out as well. And then basically he's waiting, and these guys attack his house. 12 guys in ski masks. Mm-hmm. And there's an awesome fight. This set the tone for the rest of the film.
It is amazing. It
is just a proper old school. So there's lots of gunplay, but there's also lots of great hand-to-hand
fighting. And a lot of it is judo.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does none of that stuff that really annoyed the shit out of me in the Paul Greengrass Bourne films, where they're going, shake your camera. Yes, but you're so close to the action, you can't see what's going on. That is just exciting. No, it doesn't. It gives me seasickness. I can't see what you're doing.
You can see everything. It does. I know you haven't watched Daredevil yet, it's all of you, but it does. It's similar in tone to Daredevil, the fight sequences.
Good. You want to see it. I mean, it's all fake. We know that. But within the scope of the story, you want to pretend. You want to see it.
I think as well, when you know that it's been directed by a kind of fight and stunt coordinator, so that's probably why so many of them, they're always in masks for no real reason, apart from the fact it probably means they can be stuntmen. And, you don't know whether Keanu's doing something. I'm just pretty sure he learned judo for this part. He does do martial arts anyway. And then you've also got, obviously, maybe the director was doubling for him as well. But it's
the Matrix stuff when he trained
the fighting here it is quick, but not in that kind of, like you say, weird way. It's quick because it's as quick as it would be. And he's just, the way he's taking them out is amazing.
But he does that thing of, in some gunfights in a lot of films where they shoot 20 times and never kill them, or they never hit them, or they shoot them 4 times and then they get up again. Every time he shoots someone, it's either centre mass or he shoots them through the head.
Yeah.
And he never moves on until the person's dead.
And that's a very clinical thing. And also he always tries to get people down onto the floor, and so he kind of uses their strength against them. So there are people in this film that are bigger than him, and he sort of neutralises them and puts them in a hole, takes them down, and then when they're down, he shoots them in the back of the head, moves on to the next person. It is very clinical.
Yeah, it shows you some of the skills of why he was so good. It's just that, he's shaking off some of the rust in this fight, because there's a couple of moments where they get the better of him, but then he kind of wriggles out of it and takes care of them and just wipes the floor, kills 12 of them, and he's broken the windows, and there's bullet holes and the glass everywhere, and then there's a knock on the door from a policeman.
Yes, sorry, apologise. Yes, like it's an action movie podcast, just skip the action bits.
What?
I know, exactly. But I say what I like about that is he's not invincible, but he is very, very good at what he does. And I think it's that perfect balance, really. It doesn't seem kind of unnatural what he can do. He can get hurt. You do believe that he can get hurt, but also he does. It's been 5 years out, I think, but he does know exactly what he's doing. But so the cop comes to the door, who we've established far too early on, that is the guy who plays Don in Newsroom. But he's like, hey, and he's like, hey, Jimmy. And then he kind of looks behind him and sees these bodies, and he goes, are you working again? And he's like, yeah, okay, see you later. And you just think, okay. And this kind of sets a tone for quite a lot of things that happen in the film. You think, so he's got a friendly neighbourhood policeman who is kind of cool with what he does because he's, I don't know why, And that also suggests that he had the same house before he got married. It's not like he's moved to a new area. He just...
Thomas Sadowski is the actor's name, who played Don Kiefer in The Newsroom.
He did. And it didn't...
I love it. I just thought, because when the cop turned up, I thought, God, he's either going to have to kill the cop or something. It's just that moment where... Are you working again?
It's like, anyway, I'll leave you get about your day.
Yeah.
It's just...
And then it's brilliant. It's just that kind of, everyone knows him. Everyone who was ever connected knows him.
It's just that thing, is if you were going to be a really, really good assassin that someone could build a whole empire on, and then when you quit, not have to move house. This is obviously how.
Yeah. And I love the fact he then rings up a restaurant and makes a reservation for 12. And I didn't get what was going on first. I thought, why is he booking a restaurant? What? And then a cleanup crew turns up with this creepy old guy and 3 massive blokes with plastic sheeting and cleaning equipment and stuff, and they just take all the bodies, wrap them in plastic, scrub the floors.
And again, he's this bit I really like about the fact that he says very little to anyone. So he doesn't say anything on the phone. He says to the cop, I'm back working. Like it's like 4 or 5 word sentences, and these guys turn up and he just says hello, pretty much, and that's it.
But the guy says, you're working again, are you? But he doesn't confirm it. He just, because he doesn't confirm it until later on. He just sort of says I think he says to the cop, just working out some stuff. Yeah,
so in his mind, he just once he kills the son, that'll be that. Yeah.
And then the cleaner comes and he gives him, this is where he uses the gold coins the first time. I think he gives, I don't know, a couple of them or 3 or 4 to the guy, the cleanup guy, who just takes the 12 bodies, dumps them in the back of the van. The 4 guys have cleaned up the house. And he says something like, it's nice to see you again, Mr. Wick. You need any more help? Call me. And he's just like, Doesn't say anything, and just the guy walks out, and that's it. Mm-hmm. You're thinking, oh dear. And then John turns up at the garage. He goes to see John Leguizamo.
Oh, yes, he does.
And he's sat there, and he's got a sort of a hip flask of something, and he pours them out for him and pours them out for John. And he asks him, was she here, he says, or was it here? I can't remember what he says.
Yeah.
About he's talking about the car, obviously. Yeah. He says, yes, it was. You know who took it? He's like, yep. And he's like, okay. I need to borrow a car. And he gets another souped up something, doesn't he?
That's right.
I don't know my car. So
no, I don't know my cars.
It's some kind of American muscle car. It looks really cool. Yeah. Loud engine and etc.
And is this the point where the contract is put out on Wick?
I think so, yes. Because they sent the 12 guys and none of them came back.
So they haven't come back, and you go, okay, Viggo had decided to leave it be. Then he kind of obviously thought, well, this is my son. 12 guys after him. I think probably knowing deep down that wasn't really going to achieve anything. And now it's like, okay, to be serious, I think it's a $2 million contract.
Which doesn't seem like very much, given that it is John Wick. We've established he's just killed 12 guys. He's really good at what he does. In fact, he's the best ever at what he does. And yet $2 million, really? Is that it? Really?
Austerity measures have hit the mob.
1 million. Oh, sorry. 100. No. Oh, back to 1 million again.
So I think he goes and offers. I'm not sure what William Dafoe's character is called, but he offers him the contract. Marcus. That's right. Would you have a problem killing John Wick? Which is a really stupid question to ask. But he does ask him, and he says, no. He says, is it an exclusive contract? No. And then he needs it handled quite quickly. I'd say very quickly, really. And then John Wick goes and checks into a hotel. Is that right?
Yes, so this is where he goes to this special hotel, which straight away you know something's up again, because the receptionist, well, to begin with, the guy who runs the reception, is the actor played hotel manager as Lance Reddick, who I've seen in everything from Fringe to what else has he been? American Horror Story to Lost. He was in.
I think as well as he's
The Wire.
It's one of those things where you start seeing people that they seem like they're not important, but you recognise them. So at the same time, the actress who plays Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. walks past.
Yes, Adrian
Pilecki. That's better.
Sorry, Adrian Pilecki. There you go. She plays Ms. Perkins.
Ms. Perkins.
Yes. So this is blatantly a special hotel because they know who he is, they know what's going on. They kind of say, "Oh yes, nice to see you again, Mr. Wick. Yep, the same room. Yes, of course." And go up as you go straight away, and he goes up. So I'm thinking, is this like a hotel for killers or something? Yes. I can't remember what happens next now.
Is it the club? Does he go into the club now and meet Ian McShane?
I think so.
Yeah, so I think he goes back to his room, looks at sad videos of him and his wife, which in other hands would be a bit annoying, but it kind of works here. But he goes downstairs into the secret club. I think, does he use a coin to get in, or does he use a key or something? Can't remember.
So he goes down to the basement into the hotel, puts a coin in the slot thing, and the door, special lock door, and it opens up, and inside is the special club with Ian McShane's character, Winston, who is essentially the owner of the hotel.
Yeah, and I think he wants to see the son.
He says, yes, you know where the son is, and he says Viggo's put him at his club, the Red Circle. And he's protected there, and he says, so, you can't do anything.
Yeah, there's no business is to be carried out on the premises, which is a big theme of the next kind of half an hour.
Yeah, it's like neutral territory. Nothing could happen in the Continental Hotel. It's safe passage.
There's some quite handled. That doesn't make sense. Well handled exposition in this scene, because it's really you find out that I think he's been out for 5 years. The barmaid knows him because I think she asks him where he's been and stuff. So he starts to tell her. And then he goes back to his room and again starts getting kitted up again.
He does. He gets completely kitted up with all of his guns and things.
Knife in his sock, I think, bulletproof vest.
Everything. Full works. And then he goes to the club, the Red Circle.
And then I recognised one of the security guards and straight away thought, maybe not the same one as you, though, because I recognise an actor called Daniel Bernhardt.
I don't know.
He was in Bloodsport 2, 3 and 4. He took over from Van Damme, and I thought I recognised him. And I got home and checked IMDb, I was correct. And I thought, that guy, not necessarily known as a big an actor as some of the other people in this film, I have a feeling that he's going to do some fighting. Mm-hmm. And did you notice the other thing did you notice one thing in this scene where they go into the kind of swimming pool-y jacuzzi place? One thing that was very different about a 2014 action film from an 80s or 90s action film.
No tits out?
That's true, bikinis. They wore bikinis.
Yes, as opposed to the start of other films we talked about from Red Heat, where there's just boobs everywhere.
Having said that, I watched a quarter of an hour of Sabotage and fell asleep last night. And,
that's not a good idea for it.
Well, I'm just getting old. But not as old as Arnie, evidently, whose face looks like walnuts.
Wow.
And in that, it was more of a throwback.
Oh, really?
To that kind of thing. But anyway, I will watch the end of that at some point.
You've missed one of the other great moments with the other security guard.
I think that's after this. I think it's after this, yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Brilliant. So he goes into this club. So
Carrie, because I remember now seeing Daniel Bernhardt. He tells the son, you need to be scared of the boogeyman, and he says, "Are you scared of him? No, but you should be." Which I thought was kind of. They all know this guy's pretty much heavily protected, isn't he? Because he's a son. He kind of, like in lots of films, it's kind of the son there that isn't as streetwise as the rest of them, but kind of gets through on who he is.
Mm. So I thought he was just going to go straight into the basement and kill everybody. But he doesn't at first. He goes and kills Joseph's friend. He follows him into like the changing room, doesn't he? Where he's just sort of stood in front of the mirror. And he's trying to get information from him, and the guy's not cooperating, so he kills him and takes his phone, which is important later on.
That's true.
And then kills a bunch of other guys, and then he goes into the kind of jacuzzi swimming pool.
And before that, I think the bit you were going to go into before is he warns off wrestler Kevin Nash.
Oh, but it's brilliant. So he walks up, so there's a massive bouncer. He's like 7 foot.
He's
huge. And he's watching out for him. He's been told to watch out for him. And he just steps out of the shadows. Keanu steps out of the shadows behind him, puts a gun to his head and says, "Good evening, Francis."
How'd you fancy taking the night off? And he goes, what does he call him? He calls him Sir or something. Everyone calls John Wick Sir.
And then he goes, "Oh, hello, sir."
Yeah.
He goes, "You've you lost a bit of weight there, Francis." And there's a little moment he's noticed. He goes, yeah, about 40-50 pounds. You look good.
Take the night off. Yeah, thanks, sir.
Maybe you should take the night off. Thank you, sir.
I love the fact in this film as well. It's twofold. One, John Wick is obviously like the best there is, but also he's really well respected.
And he doesn't just kill for no particular reason. No. Like, he likes Francis, obviously.
So he does.
He could have just killed him and walked in, but he didn't. He offered him a choice. And in another film, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, walk away, turn around, and then go to shoot him." Yeah. And John would kill him anyway. But this one, he offers him the choice, and he goes, "Maybe you should take the night off." And he goes, "Yeah, thank you." And he leaves.
Exactly.
That's it, he's alive.
In other films, he would turn up again later and do the dirty on him. But actually, what I like about this film is like, do you know what? He's giving you the chance to leave. You know how this is going to end. So yeah, fine. No problem, I'm going to go home. And
just like, I get to live. Whereas I know what you're going to do in there, and not many people, if anyone, is going to come out alive. So I think I'll go home and look online for new jobs in the morning. Mobboss.com. Who's hiring? Oh, yep, I'll go and work for the Spanish. Nice. There we go.
But I think you said about the bathroom scene. I think what the really nice thing they start to do here is it's a bit like a ninja film where you see kind of people in the shadows on the sides of the window, but in nearly every scene in the background, John Wick is killing somebody.
True, it's true. They're all kind of watching, and then he does it really quietly at first.
The boogeyman thing really works.
He just uses a knife, sneaks out the shadows, snaps someone's neck, stabs another guy. One guy gets a bit kind of lippy with him and starts fighting back. So John just takes him apart. Doesn't he stab him through the face, through his jaw, up his? I was like, oh, there's some nasty kills in this film, really brutal ones.
So he's killed the other main guy. I think he just says, "You stole my car and you killed my dog." He's just almost repeating, "This is the reason I'm doing this." Nothing.
His friend Victor, he's one of Joseph's friends, who's killed him, took his phone, killed a bunch of security
and
guards.
There's a montage here, like a big violent music video. I don't know if this is where the Marilyn Manson song comes in for the first time, which I love, by the way, which is Killing Strangers, which plays a lot of it. The lyrics are so on the nose, but I don't mind in this case. That's become my go-to gym record since seeing this in the cinema already. And anyway, so you see these kind of slow-mo, kind of almost like a music video. You just hear this track while he's just killing more and more people.
Yes, and Joseph starts running, and he's working his way through the club, and John's just killing everybody. Everybody. And this is when he does that thing again, where he neutralizes someone, shoots them in the head, and then moves on. But he doesn't just leave someone dangling behind him. He doesn't just wound them. He doesn't do any of that. Oh, they'll escape and they'll be okay. Because he knows that if you don't kill someone, that's another person to come back after him again. Yeah. So he kills about 25. Actually kills 25.
He's obviously seen Saving Private Ryan. He knows what happens if you leave someone alive.
Yeah, spoilers for anyone who hasn't.
Well, you know.
He'll die. So he just takes them all apart until he comes up against
a man with a beard.
Viggo's henchman.
Yeah, he pulls a guy with a guy's beard, doesn't he? At one point, do you remember that? He pulls him down by his beard and then shoots him. He can't get to any part of his body, like any of his limbs. So he just grabs his beard, pulls his face down his beard, then shoots him in the forehead. Which I thought was quite,
tough.
you know.
And then he has a big fight with your man, Daniel Bernhardt.
Indeed.
Who's rock. He's rock hard in this film.
Yeah. And he's not the youngest man in the world either now.
His character is called Kirill, I think. According to IMDb, he's called Kirill. But he's really, really good. And suddenly John realises that this guy...
he was in The Matrix Reloaded. It all starts to become...
he's seen old chums from The Matrix. Yeah. And they just start going at each other and beating the crap out of each other. And he throws John off a balcony.
He does.
It's a really awful landing as well. Like normally they bounce on a table and a chair and get up. No.
It's good as well because you get the sense that he's not going to be able to beat everyone in the same way.
No, and this guy knows what he's doing. He can handle himself really well. And John is essentially outnumbered. I think he has been shot, but he took it on the vest.
Yeah.
I think so. He's bruised and battered, and he basically has to retreat.
That's right.
By which time the son has run.
He's run off in his towel like a coward and got in a car and been driven away.
Yes, and this is a great moment then when he rings his mate Victor, going, Victor, what's happened? Where were you? And John answers the phone and goes, Victor can't make it to the phone right now. Says something like that, doesn't he? And he's just like, oh shit. He knows that that's the end of Victor, so...
And again, this is there's cliches in this film, but they work because of the talent involved, so...
It's comedy.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, and I think they are kind of slightly sending up. He goes back into the hotel, he asks for a doctor.
So there's a doctor around, because he's always on staff set, 24/7.
And then he's getting stitched up. Do you need anything for the pain? No. And he drinks a whiskey, which has been done 1,000 times before, but it does work. And I love the fact as well, because usually the doctor, you just shouldn't, you can't carry on. You must, in most films, isn't it? It's like, you mustn't do anything. He's like, okay, I won't do anything, but he's going to do something. Here, he's like, well, here's some painkillers. Obviously, you're going to keep working. Your stitches are going to tear, but you will have full movement, so you should be able to finish your job. So again, it obviously is this hotel for assassins.
It is, and it's neutral territory, and the doctor knows what he's doing, and the maitre d', the fact that John Wick came in covered in blood limping doesn't faze him in the slightest. He's just like, good evening, sir.
This is not the Ramada.
Yes, when I turned up bloody, they panicked a bit more, limping.
And then I think he goes to bed then, and I don't blame him. He's had quite a day.
It's a pretty tough day, yeah.
And then this is quite interesting, because we've seen, which we haven't really talked about, but William Dafoe is kind of in the background a lot. He's watched him into the hotel. He's watching him, and you go, okay, well, he's been offered this contract. He's obviously weighing his time, and now he shoots.
Well, he's got a big, massive sniper rifle.
He does, from across the other side of the street.
John's asleep on the bed, and he puts John between the crosshairs of his gun. I'm thinking, oh
dear.
Right, that's now what?
And then he shoots the pillows.
Well, he does to warn him because someone is sneaking into his room.
We don't know. We don't 100% know at this point. Well, I guess it does make sense. But Yeah, but he's warning him that Ms. Perkins is attacking him, and she's been paid $4 million though.
Yes, but she's broken the rules of the hotel, which they've all agreed to as neutral territory, and she's like, well, sod that, I'm going to kill him. And they have this weird kind of...
Have you seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
No.
Okay, well, it's a little bit like that. It's just... And old school Roger Moore, James Bond.
Yes, it is.
She's kind of strangling him with her legs.
It's a little bit sexually charged fight, if I'm honest. A little bit...
And then she's quite horrid, though, because she starts to punch him in his stitches.
Oh, God, yeah. She's properly there. She's not there to have fun, or even though she seems to be. She's there to take him out and claim the money. She's just wailing on him.
But despite it sounds weird when you describe it, but it is actually quite a light scene compared to some other bits in the film, because he throws her off, answers the telephone,
The phone's still ringing, that's right. The hotel manager keeps ringing because he's heard some noises, and he's essentially ringing to complain about the noise. It's very tongue-in-cheek in some ways, and so black.
Very knowing, very knowing.
Yeah, I like that they're just playing along. Oh God, it's good.
So now I think he gets the better of her, and he asks for, and you expect him to ask where the son is, but he actually asks where the son is and the father. Not the Holy Ghost. Although he does tell him about a church.
Well, she's essentially gone out into the corridor, and he then knocks her out.
That's right. And
someone else steps out of another room and says, a guy called Harry, who's another...
Oh, yeah, of course.
No, because he's got his back to the corridor, and he hears a gun click, and the voice says, "Do I know you?" And he goes, "I think you do." And he turns around and goes, "Oh, John, hi. You working again?"
It's Clark Peters. Are you working again? It's like I thought you'd be taller.
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, hi, Harry. How are you?" He's like, "Yeah, fine.
What's the actor? Is it Clark Peters?
Clark
from
Peters,
The Wire.
yeah.
Another Wire actor.
So him and I love it. It's just that thing of, of course I know him. Everybody knows him and Lance from The Wire, and they're both on this. And he's in Person of Interest. I watch him in Person of Interest. Do you watch that?
I don't.
Clark Peters turns up in later seasons. Okay. He's really good.
So, so she's told him that there's this church which is kind of a front for Viggo's operation, and then this scene is brilliant.
Well, we got the bit where he takes care of Miss Perkins.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Because he doesn't want to leave her there by herself. So he says to Harry, "Can you take a hold of her, keep an eye on her, catch and release?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, sure." And he gives him one of these special gold coins again for it. And then he goes to church. Yeah, go on.
Sorry. But I just, again, there's no real messing around in this film.
No.
So he walks into the church, and there's a priest there, and you don't know if it's a regular priest or whatever it is, and he shoots him.
Yeah, so straight away, no questions, nothing. Boom, in the middle of the church, bang, shoots the priest.
And walk straight through to the vault.
Yeah, and some other guys start turning up, and he starts shooting them and just putting them down properly. So the fact that he didn't kill the priest was on purpose. He just wounded him. We've seen him take care of people, and he kills about...
Because I think he only killed you if you could kill him. But this guy, there's no way, don't think that he could kill him. He's just caught up in this situation, so it's not a fatal...
He needs him as well.
Yeah, that's true too. That is true too.
So he kills like 4 bodyguards who are there, guard in the vault, just puts them down properly, gets the priest to open the door, and inside are these 2 women counting the money. And he goes, "Hi ladies, take the rest of the evening off we go," and just lets them go.
Yeah.
I love it. And he's saying, "What, you can't steal his money?" He goes, "I'm not going to steal it."
And he sets fire to it, doesn't he?
Everything.
His money, his goods, everything.
Papers, black book kind of thing. We find out later that it wasn't just money, it was information. That's what was key to it being his vault.
Yeah. And then he goes up on the roof and watches him, doesn't he? So it's kind of puts him a little bit in control. And then the Russians turn up. I think they shoot the priest themselves, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then John ambushes them. John attacks them. He's got like a massive automatic rifle thing, hasn't he?
That's right. But I think do we cut back to the hotel at this point as well and see that Perkins has taken out Harry?
Yes, she kind of dislocates her thumb on the handcuffs to escape, kills Harry, and gets out.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, because I like Harry's
I
character.
did too.
Yes, so then John ambushes Viggo and what's it called? Oh, God. Kirill
That's right.
and everybody else, and starts shooting people properly again, taking them out. But there are loads of them. There are like 2 or 3 cars.
And they hit him with a car.
Yes, Kirill does. He's
That's
taken out people quite well, and then Kirill gets in the car, and you think he's driven off, but then he skids the car and just slams a car into John.
But I think it's that thing in other films where they're kind of, the hero's almost invincible. But I like it again, it's like they're looking at, this guy knows what he's doing. He can shoot us, he can hit us. Let's just hit him with a car.
Yeah. He just thinks that I can't take him on straight, so I'll sideswipe him. And he does. He just bounces a car off him, and that's it. He's down and out. There's none of this, gets back up and fights for 5 minutes. He's like, no, he's unconscious. He's out.
Yeah.
And then Viggo handcuffs him and he handcuffs him in a car.
That's right. And again, this is running through all the tropes, like, the head of the mob has tied the guy up, and now he's going to interrogate him and hit him himself rather than someone else doing it because it's personal. But it does work here because they know each other.
Yeah.
And there's almost like a father-son relationship here a little bit, although I doubt the age gap is that big.
But he doesn't do that thing of punching him and torturing him. It doesn't need any information.
No,
he just kind of says that, I would have let it go, but you wouldn't, and it's my son, and as much as he's a little bit of a shit, Brad, a little toad, I can't let you kill my son.
And I think you said before, he reveals it's like, you could burn money if you wanted to, that's not a problem, but actually, all my C90s were in there. All my blackmail stuff.
All my 8 tracks.
Yeah.
I had all my 8 tracks. I had my vinyl collection.
My mixtapes.
My original REM Out of Time on vinyl, and you burnt it, you fuck.
But I think his way of control, in all these kind of things, the mob control the city by either money or extortion, and he was blackmailing to kind of keep power. So this has kind of hit him right in the power base, which John must have known because he was so involved in building it up. He's now the one tearing it down.
Yeah. So Viggo essentially leaves, and Kirill and this other guy attempt to suffocate him with a plastic bag over his head, don't they?
Yeah, I think before this, there's the only slightly cheesy bit of the film which goes a little bit Con Air.
Because they ask him again.
Yeah, because they kind of say to me, I think
Viggo.
Yeah, John Wick asks Viggo if you step aside and just give me your son, that'll be that. And then he just starts talking about the dog, and my wife gave me this dog, and it helped me to grieve. And it's a bit put the bunny back in the box.
Burn it.
What he says didn't need to be said, really.
So all along he's been very, very cool and very, very calm. And we know that his wife's obviously the sore point, and he loses it here and kind of shouts. And this was the only bit I was like, I wish you hadn't done it.
I think you didn't need it. I think his motivation was laid out for us very straightforwardly. His wife died. Yeah. The only link to his wife is the dog. They killed the dog. These are the people he used to work for. He got out, but actually, his way of getting over his wife dying is what he's doing now to these people.
Yeah. It's a bit kind of hammy, this bit.
It feels like the kind of thing that maybe got added after a test screening where someone didn't understand, so they added this in. I don't know, it's a bit on the nose and a bit odd.
If he hadn't lost his cool and he just said all of what he said, I think it would have worked better.
Yeah.
But they went with a kind of slightly over the top, you can't handle the truth kind of thing. Shouty thing. I was like,
And I liked about his character is the fact that he's very measured and very quiet.
Methodical, incredibly clinical, and the fact that he is not emotional and stuff. But he's not cut off. The fact that, people seem to like him, it shows that he's not a sociopath.
No, exactly.
Or a psychopath like some of the other characters in this film. But yes, anyway, so Viggo leaves, and Kirill and another guy attempt to suffocate him with a plastic bag. And he's handcuffed to a chair. At this point, I thought, well,
he's going to die.
How? Now what?
This feels like old 24, when you'd have Jack Bauer in this situation, but there's no possible way, and then you go, oh, there's a thing out of shot that we didn't.
The clock's not ticking.
There's a thing out of end of the episode. Next episode, there's something they pull wider in frame, and there's a thing he can use to get out.
There's a man stood there.
Some electrical probes.
Some kind of thing. But yes, it's not.
No.
It's, in fact, a bullet comes through the window and kills one of the henchmen straight away. And he realised that Marcus is on a roof somewhere with a sniper rifle. And he starts shooting the shit out of everybody in there, giving John time to get the plastic bag off his face and start fighting Kirill, even though he's handcuffed.
And he has to strangle him with his legs.
So this was their second fight.
Yeah, which is good again. Quite, I really like that about it. Is this guy got the better of him, and now he's in a worse situation. He's just going to have to use a different tactic.
Yeah, and it's still quite a brutal fight.
Yeah.
The pair of them are really going at it, and you're thinking, this is not going to be a comfortable slappy, punchy fight. It's really kind of hardcore.
Yeah. And it's also they both know that one of them's going to die.
Not walking away. Yeah. And each of them gets the upper hand at one point. You're thinking, is Marcus going to shoot through the window and kill Kirill again? I thought, is that what's going to happen? But no, John takes him out and essentially
I think that's the key thing in a way. For it to work, John has to do that himself.
Yeah, and then he goes out.
He shoots the SUV, doesn't he?
Goes out the church with his machine gun and blows up all the cars, kills all of the guards, and essentially corners Viggo and sort of says to him, right, take the bounty off me, tell me where your son is, and I'll let you live. And he agrees, basically, to save his own...
He said, pull the contract, here's the address of the safe house, off you go, which again shows that kind of side. I like that about about Viggo, is at the start he's kind of like, my son's dead, whatever happens. Then he's like, well, hang on, I can't let this happen. And then now he's like, well, if it means I'm going to die, fine. It'll happen. And I think this is a bit where it ramped up, didn't it? It ramped up and ramped up. This is the point where I started to go a bit, is it a little bit over the top? It does start to get a little bit smoking aces or shoot 'em up, which, considering how grounded it started, I found a little bit disappointing, but only a little bit. But in the safe house, you've got the friend who's playing like Call of Duty or something. Yeah,
that's right. Some kind of first-person shooter game. And there's guards everywhere. They've all got headsets on, and they're all checking in regularly. And it seems very well organised. And I thought, well, it's going to be tough. How's he going to do this?
Yeah.
And he just starts taking them out with a rifle, like from long distance.
And it's quite good, this scene as well, because it keeps cutting back to Viggo, looking sad, knowing that his son is basically dead.
Yes. Yeah, and he's sort of... I don't think he's looking at the clock, but he kind of knows that it's over, and he doesn't look happy about it.
No.
Whilst John takes them all apart, gets one of the sentries and sort of plays along, sort of says, like, checkpoint 3 clear or something to keep it going until he can get closer and starts killing everybody. And then Joseph's by himself, isn't he, at the end?
That's right.
He's just kind of... I think he's killed everybody else at this point. And then he's just running. And I think, does he shoot in the leg, first of all?
I think, and then he just walks. It's very low-key in a way.
Yes,
just shoots him in the stomach. And then again...
he shot him in the leg, and I think he falls over. Yeah. John walks up to him, and Joseph starts to say something. He shoots him in the head once, that's it, dead, and walks off.
Yeah, and you think... In other films, it'd be some sort of sadistic kind of torture or a speech about... The stupid speech from earlier would have happened here. But no, it's just like... it's like, is that it? But then you think, do you know what? He's a professional. It's not a professional hit, but he basically just wanted to kill this guy.
Yes, that was it. So, have you seen Road to Perdition?
Yes, love that film.
So this has a lot of echoes from Road to Perdition in some ways.
Very true.
The fact that in Road to Perdition, spoilers, those who haven't seen it, but it's the start of the film, I won't tell you how it turns out, but they kill one of his sons, and in return he goes after the mob boss's son and sort of says to him, I want him. And he's like, well, I can't give you my son. So he does the same thing. He starts going after all of his people, all of his business, in order for him to give up his son. But I love that film. We might have to do that.
Yeah, no, I love that film too.
it's a weird one to do in some ways because it's almost like it's a period action film. But we might have to do Road to Perdition at some point.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Maybe Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe a Christmas special. Although that should be Die Hard, to be honest.
That's true.
I don't know. Anyway.
So I think
he kills Joseph.
Yeah,
That's it. Done.
You think, oh, okay, roll credits. But then Viggo gets the call to tell him that his son is dead.
Yeah.
And then he's like, right, make the arrangements. You go, oh, damn, he has handed his son over, but he's not going to... It's a very much an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth film. And that's not, he's not... He may have let him have his son to save his own skin, but this is not where it's going to end.
No. So then Ms. Perkins turns up again and twists the knife in a bit more by telling Viggo that Marcus has been in touch with John, and he works out that Marcus was probably the one helping him.
That's right.
He put the contract out on John, and Marcus said he would take it, and blatantly he hasn't done it. So he takes that personally for some reason, I think.
Yeah, and he checks out the hotel, doesn't he? And they give him compensation. Do they give
John? Yeah,
they give him. I don't know if it's keys to his actual car or it's just a
I think so. Yes.
They give him his car back.
It's his actual car. Yes.
So he's got his. Apart from obviously he can't put the puppy back together, but he's got his car. He's killed the guy. So I guess in his head, although he probably deep down knows it's not over, but it's kind of over.
Yeah, gets in the car, drives off, and you think, hooray, all finished. And then he gets a phone call. And Viggo's essentially caught Marcus.
That's right.
Blames him for it all going wrong for some reason. Tries to torture him. Marcus I like this. Marcus kind of says, well, I'm not going to go out your way.
He's beating him with glass on his hands, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he's doing something pretty bad. But he basically says, I'm not going to let you go out. I'm not going to go out your way. Kills two of the guards, grabs a gun, and then Viggo just kind of shoots him like 6 times or 7 times until the gun's empty. And he sort of says, I told you. And then he shoots him again or something. It's something really annoying, really kind of petty in some ways, I think.
Yeah.
But then he rings John and tells him what he's done.
That's right.
Which was a bit, weird.
But I guess it's that kind of, it's about you take one of mine, I take one of yours.
You put one of my guys in the hospital, put 2 of the guys in the morgue.
That's uncanny, that is, by the way.
It's my best Kurt Russell impression ever.
Waiting for you to appear on Britain's Got Talent with your favourite impression. So Wick goes to see Marcus's body, and again, it's kind of, there's, this guy's...
Well, actually, he's supposed to meet Miss Perkins there. He's supposed to kill him. But she gets called away with a mysterious call.
That's right.
So when he gets there, there's just Marcus's body and lots of bullets and blood, and Marcus is dead.
And I like the scene with Perkins now.
Well, yeah, we'll do that now, because I can't remember what order.
I think that is next. I think it is. So. Ian McShane turns up and tells her membership has been revoked because she broke the rules. Yeah. And I think, does it then kill her straight away, or do you see the cleaners come up in first and you think, okay, she's about...
No. So he says you broke the rules, this, that, and the other. He walks off. 4 guys come from 4 corners of this kind of open square. And they all shoot her at once. Like, I think at least 2 or 3 of them, bang, bang, dead. That's it. They walk off. Cleaner, he hands the coin to the cleaner. The cleaner walks up to take away her body.
Yeah, so it's like, very, very clinical.
That's it. You broke the rules. You're out. Done. That's just pretty bad.
And then I think does McShane ring John and tell him that Viggo's helicopter's been refueled?
Yes, he kind of says that's where he's going. He's going out on his helicopter.
This was the point that I thought someone at Marvel, give the people who made this film the Punisher to play.
Oh, yes.
Because that's what it feels like. It feels like a Punisher movie. Done right. I
mean, there were bits of the first one that I really liked.
Same here.
I didn't see the second one.
I saw it recently. I wouldn't.
Any good?
No.
I thought you'd say that. So I'm not going to bother. Yes, they could blatantly just give Punisher to these guys, or the guys who did Daredevil, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
He knows that that's where Viggo's going. He goes to the docks.
Just taking out a line of vehicles.
He does. Yeah, he just kills everybody, right up to the point where...
Well, to the point where he stops caring about his beloved car.
Yes, he's like smashing it up and stuff, and the sort of consigliere character guy is like, give me a gun, even though he's just seen John kill however many guys throughout the course of this film. He knows, he still thinks for some reason he can do it.
I think at this point as well is when you start to think, if any point you'd think John could get angry and do his screaming thing, it would have been here, because he's finished the job, but now he's at the point of smashing up the car, and he has kind of, gone past professional mode. But the associate kind of, you can tell his moments are numbered.
Oh god, yeah. He attempts to kill John, and John just blows him away. That's it.
He skids the car into him, doesn't he? He kills him with the car. I think he skids the car and kills him with the car.
All right. Nice call back to when Kirill did it him, I guess.
And his car's totaled, and then so Wick makes it out, and again, this is another massive action movie cliche where Viggo wants to fight him, but not with guns, no more bullets, man against man. And then you're thinking, I bet he's got a gun hidden somewhere.
Reminded me of Commando.
Yeah.
You don't want to fight me with a gun. You stick a knife in.
That's not one of your great impressions.
What's the character called? Bennett. Come on, Bennett. Get to the chopper.
It is you that does the intro to the show. I knew it.
Down.
I knew it.
Get down.
And I think, so here, this is an utter mismatch. It's a bit like the end of Roadhouse. It's kind of, all the people that are trained are gone. Mm-hmm. This is just a guy who can't, But then it's a kind of, we were professionals. And then Viggo has a knife. Mm-hmm. And then this bit, I don't know if you agree. Does Wick kind of let him stab him?
Yeah.
Is that a tactical move, or does he want to die? I got really confused.
I think it's tactical. So he's already been wounded, and I think he knows that if Viggo stabs him there, it essentially takes the knife out of the fight.
Okay.
But the stab wound won't kill him there. I think that's what he's done. He's kind of worked out that if he gets stabbed there, it's not lethal. So he can't force him off. So the knife goes into him. Viggo's thinking, what? And then he pulls the knife and just jams it into Viggo's neck. Yeah. That's it. He gets, sort of thinking, oh, wow, okay. Ooh, he wasn't expecting that. And then they both kind of just sit there, and it's raining. It's raining really badly. And they both kind of just sit and stare at each other. And doesn't Viggo say something like, I'll see you soon, John?
Be seeing you, John. And he goes, yeah, be seeing you.
That's it. And then John, you're thinking, right, okay. So he gets up and walks off.
And then we have a very late 80s, early 90s, super fast finish to the film. It's like, so he's watching his video of his wife again.
Yes.
Which happens
we now know why the car had crashed. Yeah. We now know why he's bleeding, why he's kind of injured.
And he breaks into somewhere, and you're like, okay, and he gets himself some medicinal things. Like in most of the films we watched, the vets is always all the similar place.
Terminator 3, all over again.
It's the best place to go to get what you need. He staples himself up, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, pretty nasty, yeah.
And then you realise it's actually like the pound. Or a big
dog shelter.
Yeah, and so he works his way down the queue, gets a dog which is a bit more him, I think. A bit more or a mastiff or something. And he takes it home and roll credits.
Yeah, he just walks off.
Yeah, he's got a new dog.
And that's it.
Got a new dog.
And that's it. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Job done. End of film.
Yeah.
So I did some research. The budget for this was $20 million.
Which in this day and age is not that much.
It's nothing. I mean, most studios seem reluctant to make films for anything less than, 5 times that, in the basis that they think it'll make a lot more. I don't see many really small films now. But the fact that it's got so many great actors in it, it's got a big lead star. I don't know. Somehow it just slipped through. But at the box office worldwide so far, according to my last stats, it's made $80 million now, $78 million. There you go. Go to Box Office Mojo. So it's.
I think it'll do well on the
DVD circuit. Oh yeah,
and stuff.
Absolutely. And as you said at the start of this, there's going to be a John Wick 2.
There is.
It's been announced.
There is. I don't know who he's going to kill next.
Well, Francis escaped, remember? He said to Francis,
don't be mean.
do you want to take a day off? Oh, thank you, Francis. Maybe that's it.
The character of John Wick was in a computer game before this film.
Really?
A computer game called Payday 2, and it was played by David Fouquet. I had to be very careful saying that.
Nice.
She's interesting. Weird.
Yeah, I think we probably talked longer than the film at this point, because it's quite a lean film. It's something like, I don't know, 90 or 100 minutes or something. What's the old stats say? 101 minutes. There you go, running time.
Okay.
So, probably not quite up to that yet. But, so what do you think then? I mean... Generally.
I liked it more talking about it, I think, now, because what I put here is you really care about Wick, but a little bit less as it gets crazier. So I like the conceit of the hotel, but that still took it a little bit away from where it started. And I think once it got near the end, it was a bit more kind of crazy, blowing up cars and stuff. It felt a little bit too OTT. But having said all of that, and it is, once this killing starts, there's a big tonal shift. It could, different cast. This would have been a film that no one would have heard of, and I'd have spent weeks trying to convince you to watch it. And I'd have been raving about it, and you'd have probably been taking it with a big pinch of salt. So I think it's that thing of you can do, it's a bit like Taken, you can do these films that will have much bigger mass appeal by just casting them really well.
It's true.
And because it was a stunt guy directing it, the fight scenes in this, the more I think about it, are phenomenal. I have to watch it again.
They're epic. I just love the fight scenes. They were so good. So good.
And it's in some ways, it's closer to the old films. It's more like an action film that we'd have seen years ago, but with some modern touches that really work, and it's quite knowing. So, yeah, overall, I really, really liked it. Again, it was just that final kind of ramping up that maybe didn't fit with me, but the more I think about it, it's very rare for us now. Well, it's rare that we talk about a recent film anyway, but it's rare I find that a recent enough film made me, give a shit enough about the main character, and it wasn't just all about spectacle. It actually feels like a proper timeless action film, really.
Yeah, and it's the little touches, I think, as we've kind of spoken about all of them, that make it really nice. The fact that the fight scenes are really good, really well coordinated, obviously with the people behind it. The character is very true to kind of persona they've created, that he's so clinical and so good, that the film starts with him killing 12 men in his house in about 4 minutes.
Yes.
And, with very few slip-ups. And then he goes to the club and kills about another 25 guys. But it's just, he's so good at what he does. But as we've said, he's not inhuman. He does get hurt. He can be injured. And, gets beaten up a lot.
I think one of the things I really like about it is, if you think of films like in Roadhouse, everyone underestimates him because people there don't know him. In even something like Under Siege, he's a cook. But here...
I'm just a cook. Yeah.
Here, it's like, oh shit, he's after us. And it's just, it's a nice kind of reversal. I'm sure there are other films where, again, Payback is a little bit like it, but not as much. This, to me, was just like the first time you really felt that actually everyone's kind of frightened of the main character.
It's just road to perdition all over again.
Yeah, very true.
It's just like Michael Sullivan. They're like, oh God, he's the main guy's number one killer. He's not quite the same, but he's the guy you send in to scare people. He's not a hitman, but he's someone you send in to scare people. And they're like, oh my God, you've got Michael Sullivan after you. And this, it's like, it's John Wick. You've got John Wick.
And that's why, because
send everyone.
When this film was first announced, I thought, why call it the name of the lead character? That just shows you can't think of a title. But then you watch it and go, do you know what? It's because, if this was a B movie with a lesser cast, it probably would have been called The Boogeyman.
Yes, it's true.
But actually calling it John Wick works because it's like, well, actually, it is about this guy. What's his tagline here? Don't let him. I can't see what the other word is.
Don't let him...
Don't set him off.
Don't set him off.
Wick, set him off. That's what they've done there. It's got a short fuse. That is a bit stupid. Don't like that.
So, are we ready to give
I think so, yeah.
Enough with the yak. What is your score?
Go on then.
Right, well, I've wavered a bit because there are elements of this film that would probably make it a 5.
Mm-hmm.
There are also some bits, particularly the bit that we talked about in the interrogation scene, that possibly would make it a 3, and some of the more over-the-top elements. However, this is a film being made now which holds up against the films that we've liked in the past. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a very solid 4.
Ooh, right. I didn't really know what to expect with this. I didn't know the director, as you said. They're all quite new. Then when the familiar faces started to turn up one after another, and plus with Keanu in the lead, I settled in and thought, all right, okay, let's see where it goes. And I love the style of it. I love the fight scenes. I love the fact that you can see what's going on. I like the little touches of humour. A couple of little bits that bugged me, like you. So I think I enjoyed it more than you from the beginning.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
Equally a solid 4. Nearly a 5, but we don't do half bags.
No, we
There's
don't.
no half bags.
It is very nearly. It wouldn't take much to tip it over, I don't think, to a 5.
No, but it's really, really good film. So definitely a solid 4 bags, I'd say. And I was looking on Rotten Tomatoes just now. They gave it 85%.
It's got 7.2 average rating on IMDb.
There you go. So we've spoiled John Wick to pieces, but it is a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it, right, good night.
You have been listening to Bags of Action. No bullshit. You'd better stick around for the next episode, because if you're lying, I'll be back.